is Valley News Live at 4.
We are following breaking news for you out of North Fargo. A man and a woman are dead after a shooting at Composite America. That's at 401 27th Street North. Fargo police say the shooting happened just after 2 o'clock this afternoon, and a 35-year-old man has turned himself in as the shooter. There are still plenty of police there at the scene. Now, they say the suspect turned himself in. The weapon was found, but it's still a very active investigation. There are no other suspects or victims at this point. Police Chief Zabolski said police will likely be on scene for several hours. They've been going in and out of buildings, and we're told police don't know exactly what happened there. Details still limited at this hour. What we do know is that Composite America is some sort of manufacturing facility. We will obviously continue to follow this breaking story for you all night right here on Valley News Live. Hutch joins us now with a first look at your forecast. Hutch.
Stacy, thanks so much. It's a first alert weather day. We do have gusts everywhere. We're dealing with winds. Some of us are at times seeing some flakes, and that's causing some slippery roads. Now, most of the impacts that I've been able to see on local DOT cameras showing up in northwest Minnesota. Look at the road surface here on Highway 1 near Goodrich. That's covered with ice and snow and reduced visibilities there at times as well. North of the Thief River area on Highway 59, we have some slippery, slickery roads as well. Give yourself extra time to travel. Take it easy and it'll be okay. Those gusty winds, though, are still robust, gusting to over 40 miles per hour in our western counties. Look at that. Oaks, 49-mile-per-hour gusts. Get the hairspray out or hold on to your hat. It's going to be rough all night. Reduced visibilities, mainly in northwest Minnesota, and the radar shows that we do have hit and miss pockets of snow, one of which is going to be moving right into Thief River, Red Lake Falls, and Crookston at this time. These are drifting pretty quickly with those winds to the east. The snow showers continue all night. We will also see those winds continue all night as well. Then we turn the page on details on what you can expect for the rest of your week's forecast, and we'll look ahead toward the holiday travel season here in just a moment.
All right, thanks so much, Hutch. New information on an officer-involved shooting we've been following for you. The officer who fired his gun at a man in early July has been cleared of any wrongdoing. That shooting happened back on July 4th. Moorhead police responded to 25th Street and 4th Avenue North for suspicious activity, which was followed by a foot chase and Officer Andrew Work firing his gun. Isaiah Hopkins was later arrested. He's now in prison in St. Cloud on unrelated charges. The Crow Wing County Attorney's Office reviewed the case, and they now say the discharge of that firearm was reasonable and justified, adding Hopkins had a history of being combative, anti-police, and unpredictable during interactions with police. Hopkins was also known to possess a firearm in previous incidents. The teamwork of Grand Forks police officers, a canine, and a drone helped nab a man suspected of domestic violence. Police got the call after 1 a.m. on November 7th. The vehicle stopped at the Flying J, and a man got out and ran, weaving between parked semis. There was a protection order in place for the two people involved, and officers say they quickly found evidence of physical abuse. They set up a perimeter and deployed a drone and canine Shelby. The drone was able to direct the canine to the suspect's exact location. He was arrested without further incident. Jacob Chansley, the spear-carrying January 6th rider whose horned fur hat, bare chest, and face paint made him one of the more recognizable figures in the assault on the Capitol, was sentenced today to 41 months in prison. Chansley, who pleaded guilty to a felony charge of obstructing an official proceeding, was among the first rioters to enter the building. He's acknowledged using a bullhorn to rile up the mob, though he isn't accused of violence. Prosecutors say Chansley of Arizona was the public face of the Capitol riot. We're following a developing story for you today involving your kids' school lunches. Lunch options are about to be trimmed down in West Fargo, and you can blame the nationwide supply chain problem. The West Fargo district is notifying families that starting on November 29th, elementary school menus will have one daily entree option. Middle and high school menus will have one daily hot option with limited grab-and-go entrees. West Fargo is like many districts struggling with food shortages, canceled orders, and low staffing. They say menus will be adjusted. School officials say changes are expected to be temporary, but it's not clear just how long the supply chain problems will be around. We'll hear from parents concerned about that change tonight on Valley News Live at 10. The number of drug overdose deaths in the U.S. is at an all-time high. Figures from the CDC indicate overdose deaths surpassed 100,000 in a 12-month period. That's the first time the figure has ever topped 100,000. The number is up 29% from the previous 12-month period, Bob Anderson of the National Center for Health Sciences called it a staggering increase for 1 year. In no state is the figure more startling than in Vermont, where there was a nearly 70% increase. West Virginia, Kentucky, Louisiana, and Tennessee also reported much higher figures than the previous 12-month stretch. Jurors this afternoon weighed charges against Kyle Rittenhouse for a second day of deliberation in his murder trial. Rittenhouse shot 3 men on the streets of Kenosha. Prosecutors say he was a wannabe soldier who provoked a confrontation, while the defense says he feared for his life and acted in self-defense. It happened during a night of protest against racial injustice in the summer of 2020. Today, Judge Schroeder agreed to reopen evidence in that case. Pfizer is asking the U.S. government for emergency approval of a new COVID treatment. The request comes as the FDA could soon approve the drug maker's COVID-19 booster for all adults. Naomi Ruckin has the latest from New York.
Almost 200 million Americans are fully vaccinated against COVID-19, but breakthrough cases are surging across the country. With the latest spike creating a new urgency, the FDA is expected to authorize the Pfizer vaccine booster for all adults as soon as tomorrow.
CDC will quickly review the safety and effectiveness data and make recommendations as soon as we hear from FDA.
The CDC currently recommends boosters for people 65 and older or at high risk. But at least 7 states aren't waiting around for the federal government to revise that policy.
Anyone who wants a booster can get a booster shot. If you have been vaccinated and it's been 6 months, now you can get a booster shot 18 and over.
And as the holidays approach, many Americans may heed warnings about indoor masking. A recent survey found about half of Americans will ask their holiday guests to wear masks, and nearly 3/4 say they plan to celebrate with members of their household. Polls also show the majority of people hosting Thanksgiving dinners will not ask their guests about their vaccination status. Naomi Ruckin, CBS News, New York.
Published reports say the Biden administration is preparing to invest billions of dollars to expand U.S. vaccine manufacturing capability with the goal of producing at least 1 billion doses a year by the second half of 2022. Today marks 2 years since China recorded the world's first known COVID-19 case. Since then, the virus has killed more than 5 million people and infected nearly 255 million. The ball will once again drop over Times Square this New Year's Eve. After last year's gathering was canceled due to the pandemic, the party is back on, according to the New York City mayor. He announced Times Square will be open for hundreds of thousands of partygoers to gather and ring in the new year. However, everyone who comes down for the celebration must be vaccinated. They must provide a vaccination card and photo ID to join the famous party. Sanford and Fargo is now the first bone marrow transplant program in the region. The Roger Maris Cancer Center successfully completed its first bone marrow transplant on a patient with multiple myeloma. The procedure took the patient's own stem cells to be kept safe while they undergo chemotherapy. Then an infusion of their own stem cells helps the patient recover from the chemo. Doctors say this program has been in the works for 2 years and is a major milestone now that patients can get treatment much closer to home.
So having this service in Fargo is a huge gain and success for all the communities in the area.
Doctors say the next procedure is scheduled for after Thanksgiving. They say once the program is fully up and running, they hope to do treatments as often as every other week. Essentia Health unveiled their new labor and delivery rooms today for expecting moms. The hospital says the remodeling to their 15 labor and delivery rooms is finished. Each room is designed with a fireplace, a whirlpool tub, and a mini fridge. You can take a virtual tour by visiting Essentia Health's website. If you used TikTok before October 1st of this year, you could be eligible for compensation. We'll tell you why later on Valley News Live at 4.
Well, we have gusty west winds. If you had your hat this morning in Carrington, it may be several miles away into Minnesota. Gusts over 60 miles per hour at times. We'll see gusty winds continuing. We'll see patches of snow as well. Slow it down. Your forecast is coming up next. I'll have details on what you can expect for the Thanksgiving holiday travel in a minute.